But there is always some ego issue. You have a co-founder, right? So, but you
Oh
are
yeah.
the CEO. How do you solve the ego issues between your co-founders? Because currently the startups which start at the age of 21, 22, and or maybe 18, I have seen so many in the valley. When the startup owners, they grew, let's say 26, 27, and startups grew to multi-billion dollar startups, they they have some ego issues. They want to have money, fame, and power, and sometimes they like disown their co-founder. So how do you make sure when you grow you will respect everyone and not let that happen?
Sure. I think becoming a multi-billion dollar company is a great problem to have, and I definitely like to have that. First is that. And I think you got to stay humble. You got to stay very, very humble to your co-founder. You got to be honest. You got to talk about those you need to have those uncomfortable conversations, because once you have those uncomfortable conversations, you start growing out of it. You have to make sure, even if you have those uncomfortable conversations, you have a bit of tussle here and there, you come out of the room in a very respectable manner. That is very, very important. If you don't do that, then that becomes a problem. And so because me and my co-founder, we met in first year at IIT Roorkee, we are friends from 5 years. So that's not a major problem, fortunately. Yeah, I've seen a lot of cases where there is a co-founder conflict, and that is one of the biggest reason why companies shut down. So YC had this track, right? 83% of the companies shut down because of co-founder conflict. So that's there. It always happens. But you have to make sure you're very, very transparent with them. In our case, it was very simple that, Naman, my co-founder, had all the chops of technical understanding of AI research. He could build a technical team around him. He could lead a team, and I could talk security. I could talk to the relevant audience that we are selling to. So it became a very natural, distribution that, okay, he's gonna build, I'm gonna sell. So it was very simple. It was not something complicated that we had to decide.
Mhm. And what is the current market cap, by the way, if you feel comfortable?
As I said, it's a $0 billion market, right? We don't know. But what I can tell you is that the spend on AI infra is going to be in trillions of dollars, with OpenAI already grossing a multi-billion dollar revenue. So it's going to be in trillions of dollars. And the average security spend is 10 to 15% of the budget of AI infra. So naturally, we're looking at a 40 to $60 billion market here.
Incredible. And how actively you look into your competitor, because security space is really strong. The big tech
Oh, yeah.
companies, like for example, Nvidia is buying security companies as well. Like, people are really strong about it. So,
Oh, yeah.
how do you stay competitive with your competitors?
I think what I personally think is, when we started off in our previous company, as well as first initial months of our company building, we used to focus on competitors. That, okay, what are the competitors doing? How is their landing page changing? And getting into the Slack and trying to get a reverse demo, trying to see what is the product, etc. But I realized that if you focus a lot on them, that it's a distraction. It's a plain distraction. What you need to figure out is that there is a plethora of market out there. There are a bunch of AI teams that have not been reached out to yet, and you have to reach out first. You have to focus on them. If you focus on customers, the right customer insights, and building the right product and with the right design partners, that's all you're gonna take. If you focus on competitors, you're just gonna focus on, just, okay, what are they doing? Let me copy that. What are they doing? Let me copy that. You will never stay ahead of them. If the way to win in this market is just to focus on customer insights. That's all. And obviously, you got to be doing the right things. If you don't have to be like, okay, customer is like, the competitor is offering tens of features and is actually good, and you're not that good. So you can't just say that, okay, okay, I'm not going to focus on that. And if customer is asking for something, okay, you got to do that. If tens, and also you have to be very mindful of this thing, that you don't have to build different things for different customers. You have to build something that resonates the same product across a band of customers. Otherwise, you will become a dev shop where you're building product one for this company, product two for different company, and then you'll never scale. So scalability is one of the most important factors when you're building this company in cybersecurity.
Mhm. So biggest challenges, like, about pivoting back to back and having a strong vision. So, what is your vision for the next 2 to 3 years? 5 years
Oh
is a
yeah,
big
we
thing
have
to ask, so just 2 years.
that our vision is to become the end-to-end AI security platform, where any AI team can use our product and quickly get an understanding of the security exposure or the risk exposure that they have as an AI application and quickly mitigate that. So that is a vision, and I like to call it very often that we are the cops of generative AI era, and we will make sure that your AI application is safe and secure before you release it into the wild. We are the people who will detect and neutralize those vulnerabilities that are targeted at your AI systems, and we own that. So that is the vision for the next couple of years, and we'll see how we get there. But I'm sure we'll get there.
Okay, now one tough question. So let's say you tomorrow want to be a customer for Figma, because you have a lot of customers. What will be your process? What will be the process of you convincing Figma and other big tech companies to be your customer? What do they already have versus what you can provide to them?
Sure. In this case, the credibility really matters when you're selling to such bigger enterprises. They want to see who have you worked before, what are the logos that you have, what are some of the different technologies that you have that is not there with them out there. Do you have something proprietary, or do you have something that can be replicated by some open source technologies, or something that can be built in house? So there are a bunch of things that goes in. But once you identify that it's a valid problem for the target company, and when you're selling to Figma, you're not actually selling to Figma. You're selling to a head of AI or head of security inside Figma, right? So you're selling to a team essentially. So you have to make sure what are the priorities, what are the top problems that they're currently struggling with, in AI risk landscape. Once you get a deep understanding of that, once you understand the psychology of your customer, then it becomes very, very easy to actually mold your pitch in a way and channel it accordingly to make the right sale happen. So that's very important. And the best way to sell is not to sell. That's very often, what I say. You gotta help through them. You gotta help them and nurture them throughout the journey. And as you have to secure it with them, you have to secure their AI application. You gotta educate them. You gotta train their developers. You have to do a bunch of things when you're doing enterprise sales. So you have to it's very consultative. You have to do a consultative selling in order to make that sale happen. It's where the check size is low. I mean, when the check size is like what do you call, $500 or $1,000, few $1,000s, then you don't have to do a lot of these things. Then you enter into a product-led growth motion. But we are not into product-led growth right now. We are selling to enterprises in mid-market, and our only job is to make sure they are very, very happy with it, and the team loves it. Loves the experience of working with us, and that goes a long way, because the problem of churn is quite high in SaaS industry, right? That you get a customer, but the next year they don't sign up because the customer support is not good. You didn't talk to them the whole year, and the next year you're coming that, okay, renew my service. No, that won't happen. You got to stay with them throughout the year, and yeah, that is what we differentiate ourselves in. These are very small things that adds up.
Mhm.